All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Just like the past regular season for the New York Yankees, the early stages of this offseason so far for them have been underwhelming and disappointing. You go back to the Yankees regular season. They finished with a record of 82 and 80 for their worst mark in nearly 30 years. And the Yankees have floundered in spite of the fact that they had one of the highest payrolls in Major League Baseball this past season. Now, many fans that follow the Yankees want to see changes made in the Bronx. But like I always have been saying, the changes that need to be made will not be forthcoming. Brian Cashman just wrapped up his 26th year as the general manager of the Yankees. And like I have continuously said, Cashman is too comfortable at his post. The Yankees have not won the World Series since 2009. And in recent years on Cashman's watch, they've done just enough for him to keep his job. Now, I've also said this, and I'm going to keep saying it. Brian Cashman should thank his lucky stars that he has to deal with Hal Steinbrenner as opposed to his father, the late great George Steinbrenner, because George Steinbrenner years ago would have sent Brian Cashman packing. Okay. But at the end of the day, I know there's like a family connection there between the Steinbrenners. There's like and the Cashmans being friends of the Steinbrenner family. But George Steinbrenner would have not allowed that to get into the way of business if it meant his team not winning, because the Yankees were George Steinbrenner's baby. Once upon a time, he compared it to owning the Mona Lisa. And I guarantee you, if old man Steinbrenner was still around, Brian Cashman would have been gone a long time ago. And because Cashman continues to strut around as the Yankees general manager, it also means that Aaron Boone is going to continue to be the manager of this team. And of course, you know, say what you want. Some people are going to agree with me and disagree with me. It's all good either way. But to me, Boone is just there to deflect a lot of criticism from Cashman. And in some cases, if you wanted to, you can call him a stuntman. Now, we saw how Steinbrenner recently speak to the media as far as, going out there and trying to figure out whether or not to retain Boone as manager. He spoke to all-star outfielder Aaron Judge, several former Yankee players, including Andy Pettit, just to name a few, and certain people on his front office staff. And of course, he has decided to keep Boone. Now, even with that, Steinbrenner has vowed changes to the Yankees after their disappointing season, but it's so tough to go out there and make those changes in the kitchen if you have the same people not only buying the groceries, but also preparing the meal. Because remember, Brian Cashman is the one who went out there and spent Hal Steinbrenner's money on guys, and it didn't work. And of course, it's happened several times. And again, the Yankees they had one of the top payrolls in baseball this past season. I think they were only surpassed by the bloated payroll of the New York Mets, and the Yankees are already going to have one of the higher payrolls in baseball next season, due to the fact that they already nearly have $200 million committed to player salaries, and you could thank that to the contract of John Carlos Stanton. And of course, when Derek Jeter, the former Yankee great, was running things in the Marlins front office, I don't care what anybody says, he suckered the Yankees to take on Stanton's deal. And of course, Stanton was coming off of his MVP season that year for the Marlins, where he hit 59 home runs, hasn't come close to that, hasn't been able to stay healthy. Okay, so they're stuck with that deal. And you look at the Carlos Rodon contract, that has the potential to be another bad deal for the Yankees, in my opinion, as well. They just got from under the Josh Donaldson contract, but the Yankees and Brian Cashman, unfortunately, cannot escape this. Now, you look at this team this past season, the hitting has to improve. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Their 227 batting average as a team, only the Oakland Athletics had a worse team batting average than the Yankees in the American League this past season. And we know how bad the things were in Oakland. The Yankees offense as well, 12th in on base percentage in the AL, 11th in run scores. That is not going to get it done. And, you look at it because the Yankees as a team, they're very top heavy, meaning you have your stars at the top, but there's not a lot of balance on this team, regardless if it's in the starting rotation or in the lineup. And of course, Aaron Judge with that spectacular year that he had in 2022 when he set the American League record for home runs. And of course, he was the MVP. That season by Judge was able to mask a lot of issues that the Yankees had. Remember, the Yankees did make the playoffs in 2022. They won 99 games during the regular season. They got to the American League Championship Series where they were swept by the Houston Astros, but nonetheless, Judge's big season masked, a lot of deficiencies for this club. And of course, this past season, Judge was oft injured, had the foot injury, and of course, we saw the Yankees continue to struggle. But nonetheless, a top heavy lineup, a top heavy rotation, as they really don't have the depth behind Garrett Cole. And I don't care what anybody says, the Yankees are wasting the prime years of Garrett Cole's career. Garrett Cole, for the most part, has pitched like a Cy Young candidate each and every year for the New York Yankees. Put together another tremendous year, but either he's not getting the run support or as a whole, he doesn't have a lot of protection in that rotation. And of course, again, like I said, the Yankees went out there and spent a lot of money on Carlos Rodon last offseason. He was injured for a bulk of the year at the start, showed some flashes, but at the end of the day, I'm still not sold on that deal. Okay, that's just me. Now, of course, if you're a Yankee fan, you're not going to be happy after seeing that Brian Cashman basically gave up on Jordan Montgomery, went to St. Louis, got it going, and then, of course, was traded to Texas and was a big part of the Rangers pitching staff as they won the World Series last month, or pardon me, last week. And with that all said, Jordan Montgomery is about to cash in big time in free agency. But nonetheless, this is somebody that Brian Cashman gave up on. I look at it like this, and I've been saying this for the past several years. The Yankees do just enough under Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone for them to keep their jobs because it's either a strong start to begin the year, then they flounder off, and then they do just enough to get into the postseason. Maybe they win a playoff series, and then that's it. Or the Yankees start off slow. The media and fans, they start complaining about it. The Yankees pick it up, and again, they do just enough to get into the postseason, just enough to maybe win a series, and before you know it, it's the same old song. It's the Albert Einstein aspect. As far as insanity goes. And it's one of those with the Yankees. The Yankees and Hal Steinbrenner, they're hoping for different results, but you're not going to get those different results if you go out there and you continuously employ Brian Cashman as your general manager. 26, now going on 27 years, is a long time in any industry. Okay. And it's one of those, especially sports. And at some point, there has to be a change. There has to be a different voice calling the shots. And I think that time came for Brian Cashman a very long time ago. You think back, 2009 is a very long time in regards to a World Series drought if you're the Yankees organization, because the standard of excellence has been set there. And of course, they have a fan base that expects to be a World Series contender each and every year. And this is something that was set forth by the late George Steinbrenner because he wanted his Yankees to not only be in contention every year, he wanted his Yankees to win every year. Obviously, that part of it is impossible, but nonetheless, he still wanted his team to go out there and contend. And this current Yankees team, they're not close to it. And I don't think they are going to be close as long as Cashman continues to call the shots. So Hal Steinbrenner can stand up and give all of the speeches, all of the interviews that he wants as far as changes, whether it's the analytics department, whether it's players, whether it's coaches, you name it. But as long as you continue to have Brian Cashman calling the shots, it's not going to be there, regardless of who you are. Nothing lasts forever. You think about the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 1970s. Uh, Former head coach Chuck Noll had a big hand in that. He coached the Steelers for more than 20 years, but at some point, he wasn't, it was time to move on. And that's not a disrespect to Chuck Noll. He's one of the greatest coaches ever. We're seeing it right now in the NFL with the New England Patriots and head coach Bill Belichick. Had a tremendous run, but maybe, just maybe, it's time to move on and get some new life into that organization. And I think the New York Yankees are no different. I think the time has come, and it's long overdue, rather, for Hal Steinbrenner to have that serious talk with Brian Cashman and say, hey, it's time for us to bring somebody else in here. But until Hal Steinbrenner has that talk, until Hal Steinbrenner makes that difficult decision, the Yankees are still going to be where they're at. They're going to be good enough. And I think the Yankees will spend some money this offseason, maybe not crazy, okay, because Hal Steinbrenner's looking around. He's claiming he's looking around baseball to see what other teams have done, a la Texas. But Texas has spent money, okay. But at the end of the day, you know, you can say whatever you want. They are going to spend money. I will give them that, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And I know that free agency really hasn't gotten kickstarted around Major League Baseball. But again, like I'm saying, I'm just calling it how I see it for so many years with this organization. Talk is cheap, especially in the Big Apple. And again, as long as they got Cashman leading the front office and Boone in the dugout, the results for the Yankees, unfortunately, are not going to improve that much. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.